Welcome in. It's so great to have you along to this week's Weather Hangout. Thank you so much for joining the WTOL 11 weather team, whether you're watching on YouTube or on WTOL 11 Plus. We love having you along each and every week. We've got meteorologist Matt Willoughby and meteorologist John Birchfield. Gentlemen, good to see you and good to talk about some spring-like weather. I just love the background we've got right here. It's at least imitating spring, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, if we can't get the spring weather, at least we can put it in the studio here with those beautiful blooms coming up. And we do have some chilly weather in the forecast, but overall we got our taste of summer in April. We've had some ups and downs in the weather, and we'll be recapping April, looking ahead to May, and also looking at some beautiful spring sites across other parts of the country as well.
Yes, can we just fast forward to like 80 degrees maybe?
Well, we already had that,
or
right?
Rewind.
Yeah, or rewind, either one, honestly.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a false preview, which we all know happens each and every year. We get those temperatures that pop up into the 80s. We strung together 4 straight 80-degree days, and then it just kind of fell right off the cliff. Many people have been wondering, well, what happened with the weather? So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But also, is it time to get out in the gardens yet? We see these beautiful flowers. Many people are anxious to get their gardens going. Are we clear of frost yet? We'll be talking about 3 things to look forward to in the month of May that we could say nearly with certainty are about to happen.
That's some great information for our area gardeners. I know conventional wisdom says, well, just wait till Mother's Day. And we've been talking about the words frost and freeze in the forecast quite a bit lately, which is more common than you might think. And we'll break down when we typically see our last frost and freeze and what to look forward to in May.
And it's been quite busy across the country, Matt.
Yes, it has.
Really some incredible things that have been happening. We always love to bring you the sights and pictures. First up, Matt, we've been talking a lot about California this year. The snow, now as that snow begins to melt, some of the flooding, but also what's coming out of California now as that snow melt starts to recede.
Well, you got a something called a super bloom. Not just a regular bloom, but a super bloom. So check this out. Wildflowers are still in their peak bloom in San Luis Obispo County after California's super bloom, and this is the first clip. And it's shot near Highway 58 near Shell Creek Road. And of course, the other 2 clips of the super bloom are near Carrizo Plain and the National Monument area. So just check out this absolute beautiful videos of the super bloom.
Oh,
wow, look at that.
It lives up to the name, absolutely. Lots of those bright yellows, and I saw some purples in there as well. Beautiful.
Recently saw some data, though, that showed and suggested one of the satellites that orbits above Earth actually could capture the view of these vivid wildflowers that have sprouted over California. So good sign for them, but also a cautionary tale as that snow melts. They are expecting what could be some record flooding as well. So we'll be watching that. This is one thing that's just absolutely on my bucket list, to see the Northern Lights in person. And I will tell you, this past Sunday, they were dancing in our skies above our head, but we couldn't see it. It was cloudy and rainy, but this was a geomagnetic storm that caused the Northern Lights to really excite themselves, visible across many U.S. states on Sunday. Now, we weren't able to see them here, but according to NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Northern Lights was sort of all caused by this massive geomagnetic storm. Now, we can actually rate these storms as a coronal mass ejection occurs from the surface of the sun. This was a G4 geomagnetic storm, so 4 out of 5. So it was toward the top end of the scale, and it was really something that was truly spectacular. Any of you ever seen this?
I haven't.
Just on video, and I think a lot of folks watching right now, it's also a bucket list item to see that in person. You know, the videos don't do it justice. Can't wait to actually see it in the night sky. And one last astronomical phenomenon, we have a rare hybrid solar eclipse that took place on Wednesday. And of course, the WTOL 11 weather team's been preparing you for our own total solar eclipse. This one is pretty cool to see. Right over Australia, shifting between a total and annular eclipse, depending on an observer's location on the ground. It was first visible over the Indian Ocean, then across the Pacific Ocean, and the best views occurred over Western Australia. Pretty cool to see that hybrid solar eclipse. Really gets us excited about next April of 2024, when we are going to have the best view in the world, really. Northwest Ohio, the place to be.
That is something we are all looking forward to. So much more to come with our WTOL 11 weekly weather hangout. We're going to be talking later sunset times. John going to be breaking down a recap of April. Lots of ups and downs as you may have expected. And we're also going to take a look at the 3 things that you can look forward to in the month of May. But we're going to leave you with this quick weather fun fact, and we'll see you on the other side of the break.
Less than a year away now, and we're gearing up for that total solar eclipse that'll happen in early April of 2024. Now, April is almost in the rearview mirror, and it's time to recap and then also look ahead to what you can expect for the month of May. Now, April snowfall is something that is more common than you might think. An average April features 1.3 inches of snow accumulation, and we've dodged a bullet as far as the April snow goes. No measurable snowfall this entire month. Yes, we did have a few flakes fluttering from the sky, but nothing that stuck to the ground, let alone caused any accumulation. We've had some wild ups and downs in the temperature department. As is often the case, April can be a bit of a wild card as far as weather goes. We had an 86-degree day. Remember that week of summer feeling warmth that we talked about? That was our warmest high temperature of the month, and we had several consecutive days all up in the 80s, challenging or even exceeding record levels. Our coldest low of the month, 30 degrees underneath that freezing level. That happened towards the end of the month, and it's always a bit of a rude awakening when you get the warmer temperatures earlier on, and then by the end of April, you're down into the 30s. A chilly conclusion to the month of April. Let's recap those warmer days that we had, though. A nice streak of 80s. We had 4 in a row, not just in the 80s, but in the mid 80s, and some of those came close to record levels. It all started on April 12th and continued through the 15th of April, and we topped out at 86 degrees with some record temperatures to enjoy this month. Now, as far as rainfall goes, it's been a little bit more on the sparse side. Yes, we do have more rainy days in that WTOL 11 weather forecast, but thus far, rainfall totals less than 1 inch for the month. Now, you may have heard the saying, April showers bring May flowers, and I'll have a more in-depth explanation of the science behind that saying coming up in this week's Climate Friday newsletter. And if there's any validity to those April showers bringing us May flowers, perhaps you've already seen the flowers come out a little bit earlier. Turns out temperature plays a big role in that, in addition to the precipitation and the rainfall. Last but not least, April brought us a good deal of sunshine. Oftentimes, April is known as a month it's a little more overcast. We've had 11 full-on sunny days this month, 7 partly cloudy, and only 7 overcast days. That certainly bodes well for brightening your mood and enjoying a little bit of sunshine. And it turns out that all those days in the 80s with the summery warmth also brought us some sunshine. Now, as we look ahead towards next April of 2024, we've got those fingers crossed that we can enjoy some nice clear skies and sunny weather to enjoy the total solar eclipse, as opposed to some of the overcast skies ahead. That's a recap of the month of April. Coming up, we'll have 3 things that you need to know as you plan forward to May, and this is especially important for those of you with gardens or who want to know if we are going to be frost and freeze free. Chris will be back on the other side of the break. In the meantime, here is a weather fun fact.
Whole lot of rainfall back in 2011 in the month of April, over 6 inches, a half a foot of rain. Now, what are 3 things that we could look forward to that are near certain to happen in the month of May? And we're going to talk our average high temperatures to kick things off. Our average highs, we wait so long over the course of the winter for this to happen. Our average highs in the month of May actually surpass 70 degrees. We don't have to wait long for that to occur. The first day that we average 70 degrees is actually the 5th of May. We start out the month just a touch cooler. By May 1st, we're talking upper 60s, 68 degrees is the average high. May 5th is when we average 70 degrees. By the time we reach the end of May, our average high has jumped on the other side of Memorial Day to 78 degrees. Let's get ready to dive head first into the upcoming summer season. Second thing that we can look forward to in the month of May, the growing season. It officially begins. In some areas, it could kick off as early as late April, but of course, sensitive plants and vegetation still would be susceptible to frost. Now, the real growing season kicks into full gear in the month of May. Our average last frost occurs on May 8th. 8th. Now, over time, due to climate change, we've actually seen that average last frost occur earlier and earlier in the spring season. That's a trend that we're going to continue to monitor. Mother's Day, that's typically the time that we actually say, all right, we are all clear to get those gardens going, and any of those sensitive flowers or perhaps some of the herbs and gardens that you're looking to get going, we'll give you the all clear by Mother's Day. This year, Mother's Day is May 14th, and with some of the recent cooler weather, we may be waiting till the middle of May before we give you the thumbs up to head out into the garden. But we could say with fact, the growing season officially will begin in the month of May. The final thing that we can look forward to in the month of May, our severe weather frequency is on the rise. Of course, April can be a volatile month, lots of ups and downs, but May into June is the official peak of our severe weather season, including the peak of our tornado season. We peak out through May and into June. In fact, Ohio will average about 8 tornadoes combined in the month of May and June. An increase in squall lines, which could bring high damaging winds, also become more common as we go through May and into our summer months, ending with what we expect to be perhaps a more active time of the spring season. Those are 3 things that you could look forward to as we go into the month of May, as we look forward to warmer weather. Let's send it over to meteorologist Matt Willery. Let's talk about some brighter skies ahead. Matt.
Yeah, overall, typically around this time of year, if you're watching this recording just in late April, well, typically we see that sunset time for tonight just around 8:26, and each and every day we gain around 2 minutes of 31 seconds of daylight each and every day as we get closer to summer, that is. Now, taking a little more in-depth look at it, daylight for April 26th typically is around 13 hours and 48 minutes. And since we did see that spring equinox, we've already gained an hour and 48 minutes of daylight since pretty much the middle of March. So if you're out and about, you definitely can tell those later sunset times and even enjoying later times outdoors as we get closer to summer. As we break it down for you over the next 3 months, eventually we'll see those sunset times, like I said, right around 8:26 for April 20, at least for April 26th. You go a month later, we see 4 hours and 51 minutes of daylight with a sunset time of 8:57. That sunrise will be a little bit earlier, so some of those early goers, if you're waking up, that sun could already be up by the time you wake up early during the morning hours of May and even June. You fast forward another month, and you go on June 26th. That sunrise right around 6:01 with a sunset time of 9:12. That totals up to around 15 hours and 11 minutes of daylight for the month of June, just around June 26th. So that game is around roughly an hour from now until we get to 2 months later into June. As we look at those sunset and average high temperatures, at least as we go throughout today, like I said, 8:26 for that time, but those temperatures around 66 degrees. We go around May 1st, where that time will be around 8:32, and those temperatures will be just still into the upper 60s. But then we fast forward to June 1st. That's when things really take a turn, as we'll see sunset times around 9:02 with an average temperature of 79 degrees. It gets even warmer, of course, as we go into the months of summer. Around July 1st, we see a sunset time of 9:12. We're talking pretty much nighttime as when we'll see that sunset time. Those temperatures will be around 86 degrees. That'll be the same case for August 1st, as those sunset times start to creep back a little bit. It'll be right around 8:51 during a sunset time. So you may be thinking, wow, what are the perks of more daylight? Well, it actually minimizes any consumption because more people usually spend more time outside, and you, of course, get that daylight either in your apartment or house as you go throughout the summer months and even some of the spring months. What about more time enjoying outdoors? Well, we do have typically more in sunnier weather and even clear weather throughout the late spring months and even the summer months. And that's when you typically spend more time outdoors due to those later sunset times and even early wake-up calls for the middle part of the spring months and summer months. And what about improved sleep patterns? That also plays a part in it too, because not necessarily are you gaining more time in your day, but also you're getting those sleep patterns more frequently and even more frequently and also more equivalently as you go throughout each month of each day. And we'll have more of this as we come right back just after this weather fun fact.
How about that? Upper 80s to near 90 degrees. So
Yeah.
up to
Can't
this
wait.
point, we've actually never recorded a 90-degree day in the calendar year. The earliest one on record actually comes May 5th. That was set back in 1952. So 90s could be something we look forward to into the month of May. A lot of people have been saying, the spring season tends to go, from the cooler, damp weather to almost summer instantly.
Yeah, and then back again. We came close to 90 a few times. We recapped and, of course, looked ahead to May. That was a really good way to anticipate some things that we're looking forward to in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, always looking forward to those later sunsets as well. I can't believe a 9 o'clock sunset is even a thing. Before I moved here, can't believe
that wasn't a thing down south,
wasn't
right?
a thing Central Time. So yeah, 9 o'clock sunset sounds perfect.
We call it the endless days of summer up here, and that's something we're all going to be looking forward to. And as we get into the month of May, we'll talk more about storms and storm season, but also maybe what's ahead in the upcoming summer season. Hard to believe we're already almost to that point. And of course, we aim to keep you informed, educated, and have a little bit of entertainment along the way. We appreciate you being along with this week's Weather Hangout, whether you're watching on YouTube or on WTOL 11+. We've got meteorologist John Birchfield, meteorologist Matt Willoughby, and I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers. Have a great one.